So I've literally just started recording.
Yeah, that's good.
So welcome everyone, welcome to the first ever episode of the Manchester Indie Theatre podcast, or MITPod. I'm Caroline Lamb and I'm here with
Amelia Slater.
And we have just decided it's about time that we got something up and running that connected all of the Manchester theatre scene, and so MITPod has now been born. Yay. So we've got a whole load of things for you. We're going to be talking about ourselves, introducing ourselves, and talking about what we want to get out of the podcast. And we're going to be discussing things that are happening in the Greater Manchester theatre scene and opportunities you can get involved in. Do you want to start, Amelia, by talking a little bit about... Do we introduce ourselves or do we introduce each other?
Yeah. You can tell this is our first time doing this, so we're getting rough and ready with everything.
It's fresh. It's funky fresh.
So Caroline and I have known each other for a while now. We met through One Play One Day, which it was an opportunity for local playwrights, actors and directors to get together in Manchester. We'd be put into groups and then we'd go away that night, and a writer would write up a short play and send it over. The actors would have a matter of hours the next day to learn it, and then we'd all, in our different groups, put on a show that night and raising money for different local charities. So that was a great thing to be part of in the Manchester scene. Met lots of amazing creatives through that, which again, that's a big reason why we're here, wanting to push what people are doing and getting people motivated to get involved in things like this.
And shout out to the great Danny Ryder, who put together all of One Play One Day. I believe it's on a bit of a hiatus at the moment. Hopefully it comes back, because it's an absolutely fantastic opportunity. It provided great connections with everyone and it was great fun. Exhausting, but great fun. And I know, Amelia, you acted and wrote in it. You performed and wrote. You didn't direct at any point, did you? 'Cause I didn't do that
No. So I was an actor a few times, and then I did do it as a writer twice. I think you wrote every single time.
Every single time apart from the first one. I didn't know about it the first time it came on, but then every single time I was a writer, which meant leaving the pub or bar where we'd met up and just writing until 4 a.m, becoming delirious and sending over whatever I'd just baffled.
Yeah, usually that would be the case. It would just be typing until 5 a.m. and then just absolutely just crashing out for the rest of the day, going to the venue and watching it and just being blown away. Yeah,
it was
great.
An absolutely crazy time, and I hope that something akin to it comes back, because it was absolutely great. But that's how Amelia and I met. What we'll usually do with a guest is we'll do overtures, which is our introducing the guest and ourselves, a status quo, which is about the current and recent theatre events in Greater Manchester, the hero's journey, where we chat about our guests and chat with them about sort of any ambitions, projects, their history, whatever they like, allies and tests, which is listener questions. So we would like to invite you guys to email in. It's mitpoddy@gmail.com. That's mitpoddy@gmail.com. Any questions, any thoughts, any ideas, we'd love to hear.
Yeah, please do.
Please do.
So that we can make this segment happen. We'd really like to hear from people.
And then we have Onward Journey. So then we talk about things like opportunities, call-outs, connection requests, anything you want, including if we have a guest on, it'll be plugs for what they've got coming up. But it's a condensed version today because it is just the two of us. It's a pilot. We're just trying it out. I currently work with Dangerous to Know Theatre Company. I am a playwright, sometimes actor, sometimes assistant producer, unless I can twist anyone else's arm to do that.
A woman of many talents. She does everything.
A woman being dragged in many directions, let's call it that. Way back in 2015, my first play was The Dissolution of Percy, which was based on the Bronte family, and specifically Branwell Bronte, and it looked kind of at the role of feminism in a man's world. That was a really exciting start. That went down really well. And then Shirley was an adaptation of a Charlotte Bronte novel that we did around a mill in the Yorkshire Dales in 2017. We got a commission from the National Trust to do Theft of a Girl, which was about a real life kidnapping in the local area, and it was on at Lyme Park. And then I had a big break, really, and I went to university again. I went and did an MA in playwriting, came out and wrote On Me, about female safety, the male sense of responsibility, and the sort of pervading threat of gender-based gender-based violence, which is obviously a massive current topic.
Yeah.
On Me went down really well, won an Off West End award. We've revived it multiple times. I was then taken on by SIS Strength and Struggles Productions to write their play Silent Approach, based on an autobiographical novel by Rebecca House about her experience being sectioned under the Mental Health Act. And finally, that brings us to Make It, which was on in early February, and it's a love letter to the crumbling arts scene in the UK. So that's where we are now. I'm probably going to cut a lot of that. So I talked a bit about my work with Dangerous to Know. But let's see, what do you have to say about Amelia Slater?
Oh, about Amelia Slater. Honestly, okay, so I guess I moved to Manchester now, end of 2018, I think it was. So I'd been up north for about 10 years because I went to Lancaster for university, and then I already knew that I wanted to move to Manchester because I knew that I wanted to get involved in the creative arts, and I knew that it was a great space to do that. I'd done, a bit of acting, writing and directing, like in short films as a student. Like there was an amazing society at my university for student filmmaking, so that was kind of my way in. But I saw myself definitely as more of a writer than an actor at that point, and then I kind of found acting through, which I don't know, I feel like this is something when you're working kind of on smaller like projects, like you end up doing things that you weren't expecting to do.
Definitely.
And then, maybe I could audition. Why not? I'll give it a go. And it'd been something I'd been interested to try. And I tried a lot of other different things, like assisting with the producing side of things and everything. I thought I'd give it a go, and I really loved it. And I felt that was what I really wanted to do. I wanted to be a writer and an actor, and to just create work and to work with other people who love doing the same thing. So when I moved to Manchester, I started doing acting classes, and then honestly through the acting classes I just made such great friends. And then you kind of meet people and they tell you about, there's this other class, that's really great. And then I went and did that, and then I went and did the National Youth Theatre, and I just so happened to end up in a flat with someone who was also from Manchester.
Oh wow.
So she knew quite a lot of people, and she told me about a class that just happened to be down the road from where I was living at the time. So then I went to that class, and then again I started to hear about different things that were going on. I'd see things on social media, follow certain people. Like you just end up bit by bit as the years went on kind of getting more integrated into the Manchester scene. And I do think about that sometimes, that it feels that I remember there was a time where I didn't know anyone, and I was fresh to this city, and now it's like I can't imagine my life without it.
I had a really similar thought the other day. I was thinking, I remember coming to Manchester in, I think it was 2013, just after I graduated, which is letting people know my age a little bit. But I was sort of feeling like I couldn't. How do you do it? How do you break in? How do you become a professional theatre maker, professional actor, professional writer in this huge city? And I haven't really paid attention to the fact that it has gradually been happening. And yes, I have second jobs, I have third jobs. I'm not a full-time professional, as I'm sure is something we'll find with guests that come on this podcast. I don't think any of them will be full-time. But I just realised I've done it. I am now a professional theatre maker. Many people, they've heard my name in passing, and it's I feel central.
She's
now
a big
to the
name
scene.
on campus, guys.
she's big now. She's made it big. She's made the big time, darling. But no, it's just mad that I had no idea how to break in, but it is just about those connections and those networks, and it happens by accident, really. Is if you're willing to have a chat and have fun,
saying yes to those things and just thinking, oh yeah, I will go to that, I will do that. That has led to me now making some of the best friends of my life, and just getting to kind of be part of something that I never would have seen that being my life 10 years ago. But now it's there's so much going on. There's so many amazing talented people in this city that are doing stuff, and I can't remember the last time that I went to a show and I didn't see at least like 10 people that I know.
So it's great. It's great on one side, but on another side, it's a little bit like, it does feel like the only people that come and support, well, not the only people, but the majority of people that come and support fringe shows, indie shows in Manchester are creatives themselves.
Yeah.
So what I would really, really love is to reach wider audiences.
Definitely.
It would be so good. Obviously, it's so valuable to go and support your mate's work, and there are so many talented people. We're so lucky to know so many great people.
Yeah, we were thinking, who can we speak to? We were like, literally the never-ending list of people that we both know. It's like, oh yeah, we need to get in touch with this person and this person, because there's just so many people that we know that are just, they're just doing their bits and they're smashing it. And you know, this is what we want to be. We want to be platforming that. There's such a great community here as well. I know that I'll go and see a show and then I'll just see everybody I know, but I'm always in awe of everybody who gets to put something on, because I only did the Fringe, the Manchester Fringe, for the first time a couple of years ago. So that was, you know, I'd spent quite a long time writing that show and then putting that on. It was very much a team effort, and I was learning as we went, you know, and my two friends who were amazing and helped me put that show on, I couldn't have done it without them. They definitely helped me loads with understanding kind of all the ins and outs that go into that. So I know that it can be quite daunting, I guess, for anyone who is looking to put their own work on for the first time, because I feel like we all are learning to an extent, and we're learning from each other. But that is the really good thing about the Manchester community, is I've learned so much from the friends that I've got to know.
I mean, collaboration is just vital, isn't it? Like that's how we get things done. That's how we move forward. You know, every time I talk about my theatre company, I just talk about all of the people we've engaged with. Some return, some are due to return, and we bring new people on board all the time. But one of the reasons that we've got this podcast is the connectivity that is potentially kind of missing at the moment in the Fringe, because people are all on different social media platforms. Facebook is maybe fading away a little bit. People are leaving it. Not everyone's on Instagram. Not everyone's on TikTok, and those places maybe aren't the best places to sell your work. And algorithms, they keep changing up. It's so hard to find stuff. And I think that having something like a podcast is a great way of, you know, having a point in time when people can tune in, listen to the new episode, see what's on, and see if they might have missed something might have gone under their radar. And we're also looking at sort of doing call outs if you're looking for someone to collaborate with, if you have a question to ask anyone who works in the theatre scene, if you're looking for work. All of that is something we can promote. We
want to create a space for that.
Definitely.
And just speak to lots of people who are making the community what it is and want to push their own work, and obviously we want to support that, and knowing kind of the difficulty and what it takes to sort of get involved in projects and putting your own projects on it is it's a lot, and you know it's good to kind of get that word out there.
A lot of people are doing stuff in a vacuum, aren't they, really, on their own, and we don't want that to keep happening for people.
I always see there's loads of call-outs going on in Manchester for open mic nights, new writing. I love going to see a new writing night.
I do, yeah.
And that is always a good space to meet other writers and people as well that are just trying to do something. They have something to say and they want to share it, and they want to share their creativity in Manchester, and I think that's great.
I think that's great, but I also think that one of the barriers there is that, you know, getting to things, and, you know, often you're spending money on tickets, you're spending money on drinks. I think I tend to find that the creative industries, especially like acting and theatre, but possibly others as well, I'm only speaking from my own experience, but they seem to have a group of people who are maybe putting more money into that industry than they are getting back. You've got your acting classes, you've got Spotlight, you've got Equity, you've got all these things you need to be on, and then you need to be going and watching things. So as well,
it's expensive.
It's really expensive.
It's an expensive passion.
It really is. But I think also having this is a free bit of entertainment and a free bit of information. Anyone, you know, involved in the Greater Manchester theatre scene can get on the podcast and chat to us, but also anyone can listen. So that's another thing. It's accessible. We like a bit of accessibility.
We love accessibility.
We do.
there's so many things going on, and it would be great to show people outside of that circle what that's really about.
Yeah, because I mean, we had, for example, with the last play with Make It, we had a connected makers market one evening, and there were a bunch of people who, yes, they were creatives, but they weren't creatives in the theatre scene, and then they got to come along and watch the play as well, and they were like, we had no idea that bubbling below the surface of the city of Manchester and Greater Manchester, there was all this as this network of events, and people just don't know. You know, people who are outside of the theatre scene do not know about, you know, the indie theatre scene, which I think we really need to push it.
And I think it's easy to forget that when you're so integrated in that. But yeah, for people who maybe are starting out, there's a lot going on. It's like, where do you even start, and how do you even start getting into those kind of groups? It's good, I guess, for us to be able to talk about what's going on and be able to give people like just a bit of an insight into that, and that if you are someone who is wanting to put on a show, or you're wanting to write, or you're wanting to go to an event and you're just not sure, kind of you're new to either this creative world or just the city itself, like it's a great opportunity to kind of learn more about it. I'm so glad that I made the decisions I made now that have led to me being sat here with Caroline, because we met from us both just going for a project that
was giving something a punch that we didn't even know what it would turn out to be, I guess. But as well, you know, there is the kind of organic meeting of people that you find on the Fringe, but I'm fully not averse to people like sliding into my DMs. Like the number of people that I've met because someone's gone, oh, I've seen you've got something on, I do this or I do that. Like, yes, we might not always have budget for it, but people who are looking to intern, I mean, the way I started was actually at the King's Arms. I interned when James Baker worked on the theatre programme there, and I just was an admin assistant there for free a couple of mornings a week while I was looking for work elsewhere. And I also worked on the Lowry Bar and all kinds of different things. But you know, it was just an unsolicited approach, and that is where I found my feet. And now, you know, I've got links all across various different practices. But that's, again, what the podcast would be good for. People who are interested in experiences and interested in connecting with people. Yeah.
Making those connections is so important, and you just never know kind of what's going to come out of meeting someone that one time at an event. There's so much always going on, and
so much.
The indie theatre scene is, it is...
I think it's on the up now. I think it's, you know, I think since COVID it's been on a steady trajectory back up. But again, it's at a time when the creative industries are struggling financially. You know, I had a conversation, weirdly enough, with a guy at the gym I go to recently who was saying he works in government. And he was saying how he was so irritated by this obsession, and STEM's important, but everything is put onto STEM. But one of our biggest exports as a country is the arts.
Yeah.
You know, the arts industry, or the creative industries, brings over £100 billion into the UK economy every year, and yet we are cutting its funding again and again and again.
Yeah.
And at some point, we're going to lose the input. We're going to lose the stuff that we can sell on to a wider stage, to a national stage. It's all going to go because we're not funding it. And people who do Manchester indie theatre are often unfunded or little to no budget.
Yeah, that is the norm. Very much
the norm. And it'd be great as well to offer funding tips and stuff as well when there's opportunities on here, because there are ways of getting your work funded to some degree, even without the Arts Council. But it's, again, an interesting subject matter to cover, I think. There is very little money in it, and a lot of us do it because we love it, but that's no reason to not look for fair pay as well at the same time.
Yeah, you can kind of get... Because we all do this because we love it, ultimately. Like, you know, getting involved in a project, whether it's a project that someone you know has written and you want to perform, or you're getting involved as an assistant director, or in some way, you know, that it can be, you just want to go for it whether it's paid or not, because like there's so much unpaid work that I definitely have always been happy and glad to do, because of the fact that it's giving me an opportunity to get involved in a project that I want to get involved in, and it's exciting and it's this. But yeah, it's finding that kind of line, I guess, where at some point, you know, you're able to kind of have pay from something.
Yeah.
But it can be hard, and it can be hard to get to that point where that is happening, and I think you can get lost when you're you know that you're doing it because you're passionate about it, so you forget about it. You don't see it as a job. You see it as this is what I want to be doing, like, I'm living and breathing this stuff.
It's difficult though, because it is so contentious, because it should be a viable career path. And, there is that argument, a very valid argument, that if you take too much unpaid work, then people expect you or other actors or other creatives to keep doing unpaid work, and it maybe takes paid opportunities from other people. But then at the same time, you need to build a portfolio. You need to show people what you can do. People aren't necessarily going to hire you and pay you money on good faith that you can do this. Dangerous to know, we do pay extra minimum wage, but as a result we're only able to put maybe one project on a year. We are building up now, but it's taken us 10 years to get where we are. So, I am pro, obviously, paying wherever I possibly can. But in such a cash-strapped industry, that's so hard to do.
Yeah. There is that. And I think I have had this conversation before of, what I was saying of, like, the fact that because people love it and because people want to do it, and I know how, God, so many friends of mine that will just jump at any opportunity to get involved in that, whether it's paid, whether it's unpaid, and I think there are a lot of actors that are also very happy to get involved in because they believe in the project, even without the pay or with low pay, because I think there is very much that sense of community of people wanting to be involved in that work, and they want to do it and they love doing it. So it's finding that balance, because I know for sure that I just love to be involved in these projects, and if I see an opportunity to come up, I forget about that side of it, you know what I mean? Because I'm just like, sign me up, I just want to do it.
It's so tough though, because people have to take, like we do, have to take second and third jobs to be able to afford to do that. And some people don't even have the flexibility to have that space in their lives to take time off their work and do that unpaid job. So it's so tough. I'm very aware of how lucky that I am in terms of the career path I've taken, is providing that flexibility.
100%. Yeah, it's kind of having, it's that sort of age-old thing of you're an actor slash.
Oh gosh, yeah. And to clarify as well, just because it's flexibility in the sort of additional jobs, my paid work pays me 16 grand a year, and the rest is freelance. So I have to make work that pays. So it's not that I'm a millionaire sitting in a big house. It is literally that every minute of every day that isn't at my paid work, my employed work, is spent trying to find ways of making my creative freelance work happen. And it's a tough life, it is hard, but we choose it because, as you say, we love it.
Yeah, it is. It's one of those that I think there is just this sense of when you are an artist or creative, you can't imagine your life without doing that, and you don't always fit that. You don't feel like you can always fit in the normal box, of doing the kind of career job. Sometimes it's hard, and that's why you're in such a fortunate position when you find something that you actually like to do, as well as that, whatever that passion is. If you can work in a job where you get to support the arts, if you get to work in a job where something that may be completely different but gives you a satisfaction, and it's something that you're good at and you enjoy. I mean, there's always I always advocate for that, but at the same time, it's also it's difficult. People make a lot of sacrifices to do this, and there's a lot that the struggle that people go through, which is definitely which is an interesting thing for us to touch on, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. But speaking of second and third jobs, I know that you're working on the marketing for Buxton Art Festival at the moment, aren't you?
Yes.
When does that take place?
That is in July. So there's the 9th to the 26th of July.
Wonderful.
That'll be happening. So I'm very excited for that. It's a brilliant festival. It's going to be platforming amazing musicians, opera singers, jazz artists, authors. There's a lot going on. It's great, and I'm really, really thrilled to be part of it.
It's great that it's so relevant to your passion, that you're able to also, one of the jobs that you do that makes you a bit of money is something that is also part of your passion. It's really nice to be able to do that. We haven't talked about the work you did on the Fringe. It was last year, was it, picking?
The year before, yes. I guess that was actually my Manchester Fringe debut. So this was a one-woman show that I'd been writing for years, that I'd wanted to do in, I think, 2023 might have been the year that I thought, but then I just wasn't quite ready. I felt that, it wasn't the play wasn't where I wanted it to be yet, and I didn't want to rush it, because I ended up working with my friend Jazz, who is also head of Blue Balloon Theatre. They've produced many cabarets and shows and know a lot more about that side of things than myself. And yeah, my other good friend Selena Helliwell, she's an amazing writer, performer, theatre maker in Manchester as well. She ended up she got involved in the project as the director. So I felt very lucky that I had, two great friends who were also really seasoned with putting on their own shows and cabarets and getting teams of people together. So I learned so much from them. We ended up sort of delaying it until 2024. And then it kind of, the crunch was on where I was like, right, I've got to do it this year. I've said I'll do it this year. I can't push it back again. And yeah, and I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified.
It's harder when you've written it and it's a one-woman show. Like the weight is on you then, isn't it?
Oh, it's so much. Yeah, the weight is on you, because you can't. It says written by Amelia Slater, performed by Amelia Slater. There's no one else on the stage. There's no one else. Like, it is very much, people come and see it, and if they don't like it, then there's no getting away from that. You're going to get the full hit. But it was amazing. Yeah, it ended up being about an hour long, and I did it at the Gullivers pub in the Northern Quarter. Great shout out to Gullivers, they were great. It was brilliant, and yeah, I had the best experience. I realised that I was sat in the kind of the stairwell just before going on stage, and I remember thinking that, especially on the very first night, oh God, what have I done?
Yeah,
why have I done this?
That's such a recognisable feeling. I was like that every single night of Make It, because I was in Make It as well, and I was like, oh my God, so scary.
And you've written your pieces that you were performing as well, so it's very
I know
much
how it is.
And I guess, you just realise when you start seeing people coming in to take their seats that you're like, oh my gosh, people have paid money to come and watch me right now. I've got to do it. I can't run away.
It was worth every penny and more, though. I loved picking. I thought it was absolutely fucking brilliant. I loved it.
Oh, thank you. It was an amalgamation of lots of ramblings and monologues that I'd written for years that I'd pieced together, and I just knew that I had to do it. It was something I'd always wanted to do, and I just thought, if I don't do it now, I'm not going to do it. I'm always going to find things, that I'm not happy with oh no, it's not ready yet, it's just not ready. And sometimes one thing I learned definitely about Manchester Fringe is it is a great place to put new writing on.
Yes.
And you don't have to feel so much pressure that this has to be the best thing I've ever written ever, and I must, sometimes you do have to get to a point for your own sanity where you say, enough is enough. That is, I'm not touching it anymore. Yeah. I'm just going to do it now, because you could always find reasons to kind of put it off and think, but I could develop this a bit more and then that bit. But at the end of the day, once you've done it, I think for me, it was an amazing experience. I felt, very lucky that generally it was received positively. Yeah, it was brilliant. The reviews were lovely. My friends and all the people, even people I didn't know who came to watch it, I just really appreciated how kind everyone was. And I do think there is an element as well where you're going to be your own harshest critic.
Yes, always.
But ultimately, I do think people can see when, the vulnerability of any performer kind of getting up there with their own work. It's a big thing to do, and I think there is a respect, especially within this community, where
so much, yeah,
there's respect that actors and writers have for each other, and being able to put work on. I don't think that there isn't, I've never gone to see a show, or I've never been in a show where I've not felt a level of support from the audience. It does feel like generally people want you to succeed. They want you to do well in what you're doing, and I definitely felt that. I felt really, I loved it. It was a great experience. And for me, I did the show, and then I thought, it'd be great to do, to develop this or to do something else. But for me, just getting to do that was, something it had been on my list of, if I can do that. For me as well, I just felt, as scary as that was like, if I can get up and just stand and talk to people for an hour, like on my own, like just at people, then nothing else can be that scary, right? It'll be
No.
fine.
Oh God, it's such a massive achievement. I've never done a one-woman show because I fear it so much. I think it's so impressive when people can do that. But I think as well, you touched on the idea that a thing doesn't have to be ready, or you don't have to feel that a thing is ready. I think as a writer, it's really important to think like that, because you do need to bring to the table something that is really strong, that can be worked on really well. It needs to have like a really good structure, and you need to know what it's about. But the collaborative side of working as a writer, working with a company, working with a director, I always think of a play as a blueprint where you've just basically done this outline, this plan, and yes, it can be a really strong plan and it can really strongly suggest at certain outcomes, but everyone else has to build the house. You know what I mean? Everyone else, they decide what materials they're going to make it from. They decide how they're going to furnish it, how they're going to decorate it, how they're going to.
That is so true. It's very much like the second that you start working with a team, it might have been your baby, but now it's everyone's baby.
Yes.
You know, everyone has like a say. Everyone, and I think definitely on any project, whether as a writer, it has been a team effort every time. I couldn't have made anything, without the people that I've worked with, that have also given, their time, their talent. Doing a short film, doing a play, it very much relied on having a group of people together that believed in something and, wanted to make that happen. And that very much sums up the Manchester indie theatre scene as well, is that every project, there's a team of people, even when it's one person. Yeah. There's a team of people.
There's definitely, even if it's a one-person show, it's not, it's so unusual. I don't think I've ever seen a show where it is just one person.
Yeah.
You get your director, you get your stage manager, you get your producer. A lot of the time people self-produce, but not always. And being a producer is such a thankless job. So it's just so exciting to meet people who do that for a living and go, why do you do that to yourself? I mean, I'm glad you do, but why?
I was lucky. For me doing my show, that I did have a producer and a director, and because both, my friends they're incredible, and they have self-produced many shows that they've done in the past and of themselves. And I think there is one thing doing a one-person show, and then another when you're also the producer, and you're getting yourself booked in at places and everything else. I was quite lucky that I was able to just kind of get up and do that, and I had like a good team to support me. But a lot of artists do end up having to be kind of wearing all the hats, basically.
I mean, I've been there. I've absolutely been there. I've self-produced for a while. Fortunately, I've got to the stage where I've realised I can't do it without a producer, and the change has been absolutely like night and day. Having worked with some fantastic, talented producers, I will never go back. I don't know how I managed to do it in the first place. I think at this point it might be a good time to move on. So I've got a little list of things that we know are coming up or will be on soon. The first thing I've got, it's the GMDF One Act Play Festival at the Players Theatre in Cheadle-Hulme, and that actually runs from the 10th to the 14th of June, but it's an opportunity that's currently open for you to send in your one act plays. You can find the GMDF on Facebook, and I haven't seen a deadline for it. I have tried to find a deadline, but I believe at the moment you can send in anything you want, but look them up on social media and get your one act plays in there. I also know that at 53.2 we have Testing, which is a regular event where sort of top tier comedians come and try out their new material in front of an audience, so you can see it before anyone else does.
Which again, massive respect for stand-up comics.
Oh my God,
that is,
terrifies me.
Like just getting up, and your whole image is to get up and then make people laugh, and there's that pressure.
Oh wow.
I mean, that's why I even when I write comedy and I perform comedy, I never say, oh, I'm a comedian, just because I'm scared that people, the pressure that puts on you. So massive respect. Like whenever I've gone to any comedy night and I've seen some incredible work, like in Manchester's little comedy hubs, and it's great. So this is again for anyone who is a starting stand-up, this is a great opportunity to get up and test stuff out. And I think open mics, anything where you can test things out, it's such a good space to do that.
But it's also great to watch others testing things, because you can see when things don't land. It doesn't perturb people who are highly experienced. They just know. They know that there's going to be failures. They know they're going to learn from it. And at this event, you can actually watch them do that and see how they take that and how they progress that and process that. So that's really exciting. So that is testing at 53.2 on the 29th of March, but it's a regular event. And shall I do this next one and you do the last two here? Or
Yeah.
So there's also Verbose, which is one of Manchester's longest running spoken word events. That's coming to the King's Arms on Monday the 30th. So the King's Arms in Salford, if you go on their website or follow them on socials, that's a fantastic event. Spoken word is a really exciting art form, so do go along.
I know that we also have a couple of other shows coming up that I know that I definitely like to go and see.
Yeah.
There is the Angry Brigade, also on at 53.2. This is sort of the end of March, 25th of March to 4th of April. This is a collaboration between Her Productions and Up Ear Productions. And then we also have another one-woman show coming up.
Big up the one-woman show.
Yes, Kelsey Knox, she's performing her one-woman play, Valley Walls, 15th to the 17th of April. So I know I'm really excited to go and see these shows, 53.2, yeah. So this is, coming up March, April.
And I know as well, I think the Her Productions and Up Here Productions, the Angry Brigade is off on tour afterwards.
Oh,
so there's a few different dates, but do have a look at the 53.2 website.
The Instagram, if you have the gram, then get the details. But again, there's always a lot going on. I feel like there's some big hubs in Manchester where usually I'm on the What's On page a lot. You know, I love any opportunity where I can see a long list of things that are coming that I'm like, oh yeah, that saves me having to go and do all the work to find out what's going on.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I am the admin, I am an admin of the Manchester Independent Theatre Network Facebook page, and so those who are still on Facebook, please do follow that and check that out, because that is a really good place for people to promote their work and to share what's on. But also this podcast will hopefully be a great place for that. If you have an event coming up, please do send an email into MITPoddy, MITPoddy @gmail.com. You can also follow us on Instagram. Our account is at MIT_pod. Yeah, let us know what you've got going on. Do you have any questions? Is there anything you want to talk about? Are you looking for a particular job, a bit of interning? Are you looking for someone to help you with a project?
Yeah, please feel free to just, we can read these out anonymously.
Yeah.
We just want to be able to kind of voice, what people are thinking really, and just have those conversations, because I'm sure that if you're someone who is starting up, or maybe you've done lots of shows already, either way, there might be something on your mind that you just want to speak to other people who kind of are they have the same mindset as you, and just, it'd be a really good opportunity for us to be able to unpack anything that you might be unsure about, or you might be concerned about, or you might have doubts. Just send your queries our way.
We will not have all the answers to everything.
No.
But both of us have worked professionally. We have done certain things that other people may not have done. Things like funding, things like the process of getting a play from the page to the stage, all that sort of thing. But anything and everything, really. And if we can't answer, we may have a guest coming up who can. So
and also,
don't hold back.
Yeah, and if anyone also has any advice or would like to kind of share anything for those listeners, that would be great as well. A lot of us we are just winging it,
We really are. If you want to be on the podcast as well, just get in touch, because almost everyone who works or is in some way involved in the Manchester indie theatre scene will have something relevant to say on this podcast.
Yeah.
I've got a little map in front of me here that I'd say within sort of Wigan, Bolton, Bury, Rochdale, Oldham, Tameside, Stockport, Salford, Trafford and central Manchester itself. If you're from any of those areas, absolutely give us a message if you have something to say, something to share, and we'll look at getting you on.
Yeah, we want to speak to as many of you as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Audience members, people who've come to see something that they really want to talk about.
Yeah.
That perspective is great.
That's always good for to speak. Honestly, audience feedback is invaluable.
We need that. We need to hear it. We need to know what you want to see next. So if you want to get in touch with either of us, I'm happy to sort of drop my my handles. My theatre company is Dangerous to Know, and the Instagram handle is DTKMank. We also have a website, so it's dangeroustoKnow.org. And Amelia, your handles?
Yeah, my Instagram handle is Amelia Slater. And that's it. Just Amelia R Slater. Yeah.
And as I mentioned before, to get in touch for anything, it's mitpoddy@gmail.com. So mitpoddy@gmail.com. And our Instagram is @mit_pod. And next time, all going well, we'll be getting our mitts on Bronte Appleby, the fantastic producer, polymath, writer, God knows what else she does, probably everything. We love her, and I'm very excited to talk to her.
Yes, we're very, very excited.
She might have a little new project in the pipeline, so I'm not going to spoil her too much about that. We'll let her tell you herself. But thank you so much from the two of us.
Yes.
It's been fantastic to do this little pilot. Hopefully it'll go
Thank
on
you
air.
for listening. If you're still here, thank you.
Yeah, if you're still here. But I've really enjoyed chatting
it's
to you.
been great. It's been great, and we will speak to you again soon. God, it's so hard to end these things. How do we
need to have a little song?
We just forget this bit and just imagine the jingle, and our voice is fading out really, like slick.
Yeah, it'd be really, the production values are going to be through the roof, guys.
Okay, that's it, and that's all, folks.